Some places on Earth transform a simple journey into an unforgettable experience. Roads climb steep mountains, bridges stretch across vast oceans and deep valleys, and remote routes connect communities hidden within dramatic landscapes. These paths are more than transportation. They are powerful examples of how human determination meets the forces of nature. In today's journey, we will explore 24 extraordinary roads and bridges around the world that reveal the beauty, scale, and challenges of traveling through extreme environments. Before we begin, tell us in the comments where you are watching from, and if you enjoy discovering incredible places like these, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more travel documentaries from around the world. D. 915 Road. Some roads demand more than simple driving skills, and the D915 road in northeastern Turkey is one of them. Located in the rugged mountains near the Black Sea region, this narrow mountain road is famous for its dramatic series of 29 sharp hairpin turns carved directly into steep slopes. The route climbs rapidly through the mountains, and in many sections, the road is so narrow that there is little room for error. From the driver's seat, the landscape unfolds as a sequence of tight curves stacked one above another along the mountainside, creating a view that resembles a giant staircase carved into the terrain. Unlike many modern mountain roads, large portions of the D915 lack protective barriers, leaving only the edge of the road between the vehicle and the steep valley below. As drivers slowly ascend, the environment changes from dense forests at lower elevations to rocky slopes higher in the mountains. Fog can appear suddenly in this region, wrapping the road in mist and adding another layer of difficulty to the journey. Despite these challenges, the road remains an essential connection for remote communities living in the mountains. For travelers who experience it, the D915 is not just a route through dramatic scenery, but a reminder of how demanding and unpredictable mountain travel can be when nature and elevation shape every curve of the road. Los Caracoles Pass. Seen from high above the Andes Mountains, Los Caracoles Pass appears like a giant spiral carved into the mountainside. Located on the border between Chile and Argentina, this extraordinary mountain road climbs to an altitude of more than 3,000 meters as it winds through one of the most dramatic sections of the Andes. The name Los Caracoles, which means the snails, comes from the road's distinctive pattern of tight hairpin turns stacked one above another along the steep slope. Each curve bends sharply before the next one appears almost immediately, creating a sequence of turns that demands patience and careful driving. As vehicles slowly climb higher into the mountains, the landscape becomes increasingly vast and rugged. Rocky peaks dominate the horizon, while the thin mountain air and intense sunlight give the environment a stark and powerful atmosphere. During winter months, snow often covers the surrounding mountains, and outlines each curve of the road like a drawing across the slopes. Large trucks and passenger vehicles move cautiously through the turns, sometimes appearing almost motionless against the enormous scale of the Andes. Beyond its dramatic design, Los Caracoles Pass serves as an important international route connecting the two countries and providing access to remote regions of the mountains. For travelers, the experience of driving here is both mesmerizing and humbling, revealing just how small a road can appear when surrounded by one of the most imposing mountain ranges on Earth. Tianmen Mountain Road. Few landscapes capture the imagination quite like Tianmen Mountain Road in China. Carved into the steep slopes of Tianmen Mountain in Hunan Province, this remarkable road stretches for about 11 kilometers and climbs dramatically from roughly 200 meters above sea level to more than 1,300 meters. What makes the route truly extraordinary is its sequence of 99 tight curves, each one twisting sharply as the road climbs higher along the mountain's face. From above, the road resembles a long white ribbon coiling through a sea of green forest, creating one of the most striking aerial views in China. As vehicles slowly ascend the mountain, each turn reveals a new perspective of the surrounding cliffs and valleys, while the air gradually becomes cooler and thinner. The experience of driving here demands patience and concentration, as the curves appear one after another with almost hypnotic rhythm. Beyond its dramatic beauty, the road also provides access to one of the most famous natural landmarks in the region, Tianmen Cave, a massive natural arch in the mountain that has fascinated travelers for centuries. Together, the winding road, towering cliffs, and sweeping mountain scenery create an unforgettable journey that perfectly illustrates how engineering can adapt to one of nature's most spectacular landscapes. Million Dollar Highway. The Million Dollar Highway in Colorado is one of the most dramatic mountain roads in the United States, stretching for about 40 kilometers between the historic towns of Silverton and Ouray. This section of U.S. Route 550 winds through the rugged peaks of the San Juan Mountains at elevations that rise above 3,000 meters. The road clings tightly to the mountainside, where steep cliffs rise on one side, while deep valleys drop sharply on the other. In several sections, there are no guardrails, leaving drivers with uninterrupted views of the vast alpine landscape below. As vehicles navigate the winding curves, Towering rock walls, narrow ledges, and sweeping mountain vistas appear one after another. The road earned its famous name partly because of the enormous cost required to construct it through such difficult terrain during the late 19th century, when mining communities in the region depended on reliable transportation routes. Today, the highway is known not only for its challenging driving conditions but also for its spectacular scenery. During autumn, forests of aspen trees transform the mountainsides into brilliant shades of gold, while winter brings heavy snow that blankets the surrounding peaks. Traveling along the Million-Dollar Highway is both a thrilling and breathtaking experience, where every turn reveals another dramatic view of Colorado's high mountain wilderness. Sani Pass, T. Luno. The surrounding scenery of Sani Pass immediately creates the impression of a landscape shaped by both beauty and extreme conditions. Located in the dramatic mountains between South Africa and the small kingdom of Lesotho, this legendary mountain pass climbs steeply through the southern Drakensberg Range. Over a distance of less than 10 kilometers, the road rises from around 1,500 meters to nearly 2,900 meters above sea level, making it one of the most dramatic elevation gains on any road in the region. Much of the route is unpaved, consisting of gravel and loose rock that winds tightly along the mountainside. As vehicles ascend the pass, the road becomes narrower and the terrain increasingly rugged. Sharp switchbacks carve their way through steep slopes, while the surrounding peaks grow higher and more imposing with every turn. The air becomes thinner and cooler as the altitude increases, and the expansive mountain views stretch far across the borderlands of southern Africa. For many years, Sani Pass served as one of the few accessible routes connecting remote communities in Lesotho with the outside world. Today, it remains a challenging road that typically requires four-wheel drive vehicles and experienced drivers. Despite the difficulty of the journey, the reward at the summit is extraordinary, revealing vast highland plateaus and a sense of isolation that defines this remarkable mountain frontier. Sidu River Bridge. Hidden within the rugged mountains of Hubei province in central China stands one of the most astonishing bridges ever constructed, the Sidu River Bridge. Spanning a deep canyon carved by the Sidu River, this structure rises approximately 496 meters above the valley floor, making it one of the highest bridges in the world. From a distance, the bridge appears almost impossibly delicate, like a thin line suspended between two massive mountain walls. As travelers approach the crossing, the scale of the surrounding landscape becomes immediately apparent. Steep cliffs descend into a vast gorge where mist often drifts through the valley, adding a sense of depth and mystery to the view. Completed in 2009, the bridge dramatically reduced travel time through this mountainous region, replacing a long and difficult route that once required hours of winding mountain driving. Today, vehicles move smoothly across the suspension bridge, supported by towering pylons and strong steel cables designed to withstand the powerful forces of wind and weather. Despite its modern engineering, the experience of crossing the Sidu River Bridge remains deeply connected to the landscape around it. The mountains rise on both sides, clouds often gather in the canyon below, and the horizon stretches far into the distance, creating a moment where human construction and the immense scale of nature exist side by side. Trift Suspension Bridge. High in the Swiss Alps, the Trift Suspension Bridge stretches across a dramatic alpine landscape shaped by ice, rock, and glacial water. Located near the Trift Glacier in central Switzerland, this pedestrian bridge spans approximately 170 meters across a deep mountain gorge and hangs nearly 100 meters above the turquoise waters of Trift Lake. From a distance, the bridge appears as a thin metallic line suspended between two steep rocky slopes, almost blending into the vast mountain scenery around it. Reaching the bridge requires a journey through the alpine terrain, often beginning with a cable car ride followed by a hike across rugged mountain paths. As visitors step onto the bridge, the structure gently moves beneath their feet with each step, responding to both wind and movement. Below, the vivid blue lake reflects the surrounding cliffs and the distant glacier that feeds its icy waters. The bridge itself was originally built to maintain access to the area after the Trift Glacier began retreating, leaving a deep valley where solid ice once existed. Today, it stands as both a practical route for hikers and a striking reminder of the changing alpine environment. Crossing the Trift Suspension Bridge offers not only breathtaking views of the surrounding mountains, but also a powerful sense of scale, where human structures appear small against the immense and timeless landscape of the Alps. Storseisundet Bridge. At first glance, the Storseisundet Bridge in Norway seems to defy logic. Part of the famous Atlantic Ocean Road, this remarkable structure stretches about 260 meters across a narrow channel between small coastal islands. What makes it so famous is the dramatic curve built into its design. From a certain angle, the bridge appears to rise suddenly and then disappear into the sky, creating the illusion that the road simply ends in midair. In reality, the curve allows the bridge to maintain enough height for boats to pass safely beneath it while connecting the scattered islands along this rugged stretch of coastline. As vehicles approach the bridge, the steep upward arc briefly blocks the view of the descending road on the other side, making the experience feel both surprising and slightly disorienting. Surrounding the structure is the vast North Atlantic, where changing weather conditions constantly transform the atmosphere. On calm days, the water reflects the pale Scandinavian sky, creating a peaceful coastal landscape. During storms, powerful waves crash against the rocks and bridge pillars, turning the crossing into a dramatic encounter between engineering and the sea. Though relatively short in length, the Storseisundet Bridge has become one of Norway's most photographed landmarks, admired for its unusual shape and the striking coastal scenery that surrounds it. Langkawi Sky Bridge. From a distance, the Langkawi Sky Bridge in Malaysia appears to float above the rainforest like a curved ribbon suspended in the sky. Located high above the island of Langkawi, near the summit of Mount Machinchang, this remarkable pedestrian bridge sits roughly 660 meters above sea level and offers one of the most spectacular viewpoints in Southeast Asia. What makes the structure especially unique is its design. Instead of being supported at both ends, like most bridges, the Langkawi Sky Bridge is held up by a single, towering pylon that rises about 80 meters above the deck, with strong cables extending outward to support the curved walkway. Reaching the bridge is already part of the adventure, as visitors first travel by cable car that climbs steeply above dense tropical forest, revealing sweeping views of the Andaman Sea and the surrounding islands. Once on the bridge, the experience becomes even more dramatic. The walkway gently curves along the mountain ridge, and sections of glass panels allow visitors to look directly down toward the forest canopy far below. Warm tropical winds move across the mountains, while clouds sometimes drift slowly through the peaks, creating the sensation of standing within the sky itself. The Langkawi Sky Bridge is not simply a viewpoint, but an extraordinary example of how modern engineering can create a safe and elegant structure within one of nature's most beautiful landscapes. Vine Bridges of Iya Valley. There is something immediately captivating about the vine bridges of Iya Valley in Japan. Suspended above the emerald waters of a remote mountain gorge on Shikoku Island, these traditional bridges appear far simpler than modern steel structures, yet they carry centuries of history within their design. Built using thick mountain vines twisted together to form strong ropes, the bridges are reinforced with wooden planks spaced slightly apart, allowing glimpses of the river flowing below. Many historians believe the original bridges were created by local communities or wandering samurai centuries ago as a way to cross the steep valleys that define this rugged region. Today, several of these bridges are carefully reconstructed every few years to preserve the traditional technique and maintain their strength. Crossing one of the vine bridges is a unique experience. The structure gently sways with each step, and the sounds of wood creaking and water rushing below add to the atmosphere of the surrounding forest. Dense mountains rise on both sides of the valley, while the river carves its way through smooth stone far beneath the bridge. Despite their simple appearance, these bridges represent a remarkable example of how local people once adapted to the challenging terrain of the Iya Valley, creating a pathway that connected isolated communities long before modern roads reached this remote part of Japan. Mackinac Bridge, stretching across the narrow strait where two of North America's Great Lakes meet. The Mackinac Bridge stands as one of the most impressive suspension bridges in the United States. Located in the state of Michigan, this massive structure connects the Upper Peninsula with the Lower Peninsula, spanning nearly 8 kilometers across the water where Lake Michigan and Lake Huron converge. From a distance, the bridge appears as a long line suspended above the horizon, supported by two towering steel pylons that rise dramatically into the sky. As vehicles begin the crossing, the vastness of the surrounding lakes quickly becomes apparent. Water extends in every direction, creating the sensation of traveling across an open inland sea. The roadway itself sits about 60 meters above the surface, high enough to allow large ships to pass beneath. In the central section, parts of the bridge deck include open metal grating that allows drivers to glimpse the water far below, adding an unexpected sense of height to the journey. Completed in 1957, after years of planning and construction, the Mackinac Bridge transformed transportation in the region by creating a direct connection between two previously separated parts of the state. Today, it remains both an essential transportation link and one of the most recognizable landmarks of the Great Lakes region, admired for its scale and elegant engineering. Taroko Gorge Road. Many travelers describe their first view of Taroko Gorge Road in Taiwan as a moment of genuine surprise. Located within Taroko National Park on the island's eastern coast, this remarkable mountain road winds through one of the most spectacular marble canyons in Asia. Over millions of years, the Liwu River carved a deep gorge through layers of white marble and gray rock, creating towering cliffs that rise dramatically on both sides of the valley. Instead of passing around these mountains, the road cuts directly through them. Long tunnels have been carved into the rock walls, allowing vehicles to move through sections of the canyon where the cliffs drop almost vertically toward the river below. As drivers travel through the gorge, the environment constantly shifts between narrow tunnels and open viewpoints where the canyon suddenly reveals its full scale. The turquoise waters of the Liwu River flow far beneath the road, while mist and moisture from the humid valley give the marble cliffs a smooth, polished appearance. In some areas, the road becomes extremely narrow, requiring careful driving as vehicles pass between rock walls and steep drop-offs. Despite these challenges, Taroko Gorge Road remains an essential route connecting remote mountain communities and allowing visitors to experience one of Taiwan's most extraordinary natural landscapes. Akashi Kaikyo Bridge. Here, the relationship between human ingenuity and the powerful forces of nature becomes strikingly clear. The Akashi Kaikyo Bridge in Japan stretches across the busy Akashi Strait, linking the city of Kobe on the mainland with Awaji Island. With a total length of nearly 4 kilometers and a central span measuring 1,991 meters, it is one of the longest suspension bridges ever built. From afar, the bridge's 2 massive towers rise above the water like elegant pillars, holding a network of steel cables that support the roadway far below. The strait beneath the bridge is known for strong currents, frequent storms, and heavy maritime traffic, conditions that once made crossing between the islands slow and unpredictable. When the bridge opened in 1998, it transformed transportation in the region by creating a direct and reliable connection across the water. Engineers designed the structure to withstand powerful typhoons and even major earthquakes, a crucial feature in one of the most seismically active regions of the world. As vehicles travel across the bridge, the sea stretches endlessly on both sides while ships glide beneath the immense span. The Akashi Kaikyo Bridge stands today as an extraordinary achievement of modern engineering, demonstrating how carefully designed structures can exist safely within some of the most challenging natural environments on Earth. Sea Cliff Bridge. Reaching the Sea Cliff Bridge in Australia often begins with a journey along one of the country's most scenic coastal routes. Located along the Grand Pacific Drive in New South Wales, this elegant bridge curves gracefully over the waters of the Pacific Ocean just south of Sydney. Unlike most coastal roads that run along the cliffs, the Sea Cliff Bridge extends outward above the sea itself, supported by a series of strong concrete pillars anchored into the rocky seabed. The structure stretches for about 600 meters, forming a smooth arc that seems to float between the steep green cliffs on one side and the vast ocean on the other. As vehicles move across the bridge, the experience feels almost like gliding along the edge of the continent. Waves roll toward the shoreline below, while sea winds carry the scent of salt through the air. The bridge was completed in 2005 to replace a section of road that had become unstable due to frequent landslides from the surrounding cliffs. By extending the route out over the water, engineers created a safer and more reliable passage while also preserving the dramatic coastal scenery. Today, the Sea Cliff Bridge has become one of Australia's most recognizable coastal landmarks, admired for its graceful design and the spectacular views that accompany every crossing. Deception Pass Bridge. Before stepping onto the Deception Pass Bridge in Washington state, many visitors pause for a moment to take in the dramatic surroundings. The bridge spans the narrow channel known as Deception Pass, connecting Whidbey Island and Fidalgo Island in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. Rising about 55 meters above the rushing water below, the structure stretches elegantly between rugged cliffs covered in dense evergreen forest. Beneath the bridge, powerful tidal currents surge through the narrow passage where the waters of the Pacific Ocean move between the islands. The swirling currents create white waves and constantly shifting patterns that make the channel one of the most visually dynamic waterways in the region. Completed in 1935, the Steel Arch Bridge quickly became both an important transportation link and a beloved landmark within Deception Pass State Park. As vehicles cross the bridge, the view opens to wide horizons of ocean, forested islands, and distant mountains. Pedestrian walkways along the sides allow visitors to stop and observe the water far below, where boats navigate carefully through the strong currents. The Deception Pass Bridge combines practical design with stunning, natural scenery, making it one of the most memorable crossings along the Pacific coast of North America. Atlantic Ocean Road. Few coastal routes in the world combine engineering and dramatic scenery quite like the Atlantic Ocean Road in Norway. Stretching for about 8 kilometers along the rugged western coastline, this remarkable road connects a chain of small islands using a series of bridges that rise and fall over the open waters of the North Atlantic. Instead of following the mainland, the road appears to dance across the ocean, linking rocky islets that emerge from the sea like scattered stepping stones. The most famous section is the Storseisundet Bridge, whose steep, curved design creates the illusion that the road suddenly leaps upward before disappearing into the sky. As drivers travel along the route, the surrounding landscape constantly changes with the weather. On calm days, the ocean reflects the pale Nordic sky, creating a peaceful and almost surreal atmosphere. During storms, powerful waves crash against the rocks and bridge pillars, sending sprays of white foam into the air and transforming the road into a dramatic encounter between engineering and the sea. Completed in 1989, the Atlantic Ocean Road was originally built to connect small fishing communities along this remote coastline, but it has since become one of Norway's most famous scenic drives. Today, travelers from around the world come to experience the unique sensation of driving across a road that seems suspended between sky, sea, and wind. Øresund Bridge Tilada. Experiencing the Øresund Bridge is less about dramatic curves and more about the remarkable scale of crossing an international boundary over open water. This impressive structure connects the Danish capital of Copenhagen with the Swedish city of Malmö, forming one of the most important transportation links in Northern Europe. Stretching for about 8 kilometers across the Øresund Strait, the bridge carries both highway traffic and railway lines between the two countries. From the roadway, the Baltic Sea extends in every direction, creating the sensation of traveling across an endless horizon of water and sky. What makes this crossing particularly unique is that the bridge does not simply reach the opposite shore. Instead, it gradually descends onto an artificial island known as Pebberholm, where the route continues into a long underwater tunnel leading toward Denmark. Opened in the year 2000, the entire project transformed the relationship between the two neighboring nations by allowing people to move quickly and easily across what was once a major natural barrier. Today, thousands of vehicles and trains cross the Øresund Bridge every day, while the surrounding sea reflects the changing Scandinavian sky. The experience is calm and steady, yet quietly impressive, as travelers realize they are moving between two countries while suspended above the waters of the Baltic. Bixby Creek Bridge. Seen from a distance, the Bixby Creek Bridge appears elegant and simple, yet approaching closer reveals why it has become one of the most iconic landmarks along California's Pacific coast. Located on the famous Highway 1-inch, the rugged region of Big Sur, this graceful concrete arch bridge spans a deep coastal canyon that opens directly toward the vast Pacific Ocean. Rising approximately 85 meters above the canyon floor, the bridge creates a dramatic connection between two steep cliffs that plunge toward the sea. Completed in 1932, the structure was originally built to improve transportation along a section of coastline that had long been difficult to access. Before the bridge existed, travelers often faced long detours or dangerous routes through the mountainous terrain. Today, the crossing itself is relatively short, but the surrounding scenery makes it unforgettable. As vehicles move across the bridge, the view expands toward the endless blue of the Pacific on one side, while rugged mountains and green coastal slopes dominate the other. Waves crash against rocky cliffs far below, and the changing light of the California coast often paints the landscape in shades of gold and deep blue. The Bixby Creek Bridge has since become one of the most photographed locations along the Pacific Coast Highway, admired for its timeless design and the breathtaking landscape that frames it. Kolyma Highway. Moments like this remind travelers how vast and unforgiving certain landscapes on Earth can be. The Kolyma Highway, located in the far eastern region of Russia, stretches across thousands of kilometers of remote Siberian wilderness, connecting the city of Magadan on the Pacific coast with Yakutsk deep in the interior. Often referred to as the Road of Bones, the highway passes through an environment defined by extreme cold, endless forests, and immense distances between settlements. Much of the route crosses permafrost terrain where the ground remains frozen for most of the year, creating constant challenges for construction and maintenance. During winter, temperatures in this region can drop below -50 degrees Celsius, turning the surrounding landscape into a frozen expanse of snow and ice. In summer, melting ground and muddy conditions transform sections of the road into rough and difficult passages. Despite these harsh conditions, the highway remains a critical transportation route for the isolated communities scattered across northeastern Siberia. Driving along the Kolyma Highway reveals just how immense and quiet the Siberian wilderness truly is, where long stretches of forest, distant mountains, and empty horizons emphasize the scale of one of the most remote regions on the planet. Dalton Highway. For the communities and industries of northern Alaska, the Dalton Highway represents far more than a remote road across the wilderness. Stretching for more than 600 kilometers, this long and isolated route runs from central Alaska to the Arctic Ocean, crossing vast tundra landscapes and some of the most extreme environments in North America. Built in the 1970s to support the construction and maintenance of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, the highway became an essential lifeline connecting the remote oil fields of Prudhoe Bay with the rest of the state. Unlike many scenic routes that wind through mountains or coastal cliffs, the Dalton Highway often appears as a long line stretching across open terrain where hills, rivers, and tundra dominate the horizon. Weather conditions in this region can change rapidly. During winter, snowstorms, ice, and temperatures far below freezing transform the road into a challenging passage across the Arctic landscape. In summer, gravel, dust, and long daylight hours define the journey. Along much of the route, services such as fuel stations and small settlements are extremely rare, emphasizing the sense of distance and isolation. For those who travel it, the Dalton Highway offers a powerful reminder of how vast and untamed the Arctic wilderness remains, even in a world connected by modern infrastructure. Across the world, roads and bridges like these reveal how travel can become far more than simply moving from one place to another. From mountain passes carved into towering cliffs to bridges suspended above oceans, glaciers, forests, and vast wilderness, each location reflects the remarkable ways humans adapt to the landscapes around them. These routes connect remote communities, open paths through extreme terrain, and allow travelers to witness some of the most extraordinary scenery on Earth. If one of these destinations surprised you the most, tell us in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring incredible places like these, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more travel documentaries that take you across the most fascinating landscapes on our planet. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next journey.